Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Schollers, and welcome to my show, No Women in Heaven. And also you can find us at nowomeninheaven.com is where you can buy or purchase the book. You can purchase it there. You can also purchase hats. You can purchase the t-shirt, coffee mug, which we had redone. And also you can purchase the bumper stickers, which I'm going to have to get on the website. Today's subject is generational consequences for the father's sins. You've been told over and over, and remember, when they tell it, they shout it from the pulpit. First, remember, this is the word of the Lord. I'm reading from the Sefer Bible. This emblem means Sefer. So when they went out and found these scrolls and whatever else, they were in these symbols and they had interpreted. Now, when you say it was interpreted into the Greek, no. The original Bible was interpreted into Latin. And the reason was so people could not understand the book. And then this way they could be controlled because they had to go listen to the priest or the preacher. It is King James who interpreted into the English language so everyone could basically be able to read the scripture. So one thing is, you have to remember, one thing what King James did was bring the scripture, the Holy Scripture, to everyone. It was referred to as Holy Scripture, is what it was. Okay. Today's subject highlights the biblical theme of generational consequences, particularly in the relation of sin. Over and over, we've heard this statement, Deuteronomy 24:16. The father shall not be put to death for the sins of the children, nor shall the children be put to death for the sins of the father. Each person shall be held accountable for their own sins. This is a misleading statement. Remember King David and Bathsheba? Bathsheba? I always say Bathsheba. She was taking a bath. King David looked at her, but it's Bathsheba or something like that. We know she was hot looking. Caused the first child to die because of their fornicating sins. So remember, Bathsheba gets pregnant before, and the child dies. Why? Because of the fornicating sin of her and King David. Remember, she was someone else's wife. And from her behavior, and King David was someone else's husband. Remember, these guys were married to hundreds of wives. So it meant that he was already a married man. She was a married woman. And they decided to fornicate. They weren't married to each other. And remember, she got pregnant, the child was born, but the child died. So that is the sin of the father coming on to the sin of the child. Okay, let's continue. Exodus 25. For I, the Lord, your God, or Yahuwah, I usually don't use that term God because that's a title. And a lot of you prefer to use the title, such as bus driver, such as teacher, until they get tired. It says, I have a name. Okay. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, jealous Yahuwah, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. Meaning that your daddy didn't like me, so I don't like your daddy, and I don't like your children. That's what it's saying. Your daddy didn't like me, I don't like you, your daddy, nor your children. How is it that you can read, oh, they should not be put to death for the sin, but it does show they shall be punished for the sin. And again, King David and Bathsheba, their first child died because of their sin. We all understand that. Exodus 34:7. Keeping steadfast love for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, but who will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children and the children's children to the third and fourth generation. So before this it says of those who hate me. This one does not say anything who hate me. And you have to say, well, Anthony, what does this have to do with anything? King David lost his crown because of his behavior, meaning that even though he was put back as king, so they told us, then it goes into Solomon. But you have to understand, once it goes into these children like Solomon, well, Solomon said, and I've done everything under the sun. And you say, well, what does that mean? Man, oh man, he's been with animals, he's been with sheep, he's done everything, is what Solomon says. Well, is that someone who's actually a blessed individual? He's going to go out and carry on in that manner? And then you had Awesome, what's his name? Awesome, the one that slept with his daddy's wives on top of the house? Come on. That's the first pornography. Folks, that was pornography. You're going to put a bed on top of your roof and then sleep with someone on top of there so everyone passing by can see this. That's pornography. Come on. This is King David's children. One is a drunk, sleeping with men, sleeping with animals, sleeping with whatever that moves. That's Solomon. The other son sleeping with the ex-wives on top of the house. Dude, this is not someone who has a great kingdom. But something I was going to explain to you is that Joseph Kennedy was the father, or the grandfather, but I believe he was a father, who had made over $200 million bootlegging liquor during a time when selling alcohol was illegal. Interesting. Because IRS didn't show up, and it was a known fact that you made $200 million illegally? Wow, interesting. But if you look at the Kennedy family, which most of us loved, I mean, I liked the Kennedys, they were wonderful. Because they stood for people, even though they came from wealth, they actually stood for the working man. But look what happened to John Kennedy, assassinated. Look what happened to the brother who was a senator, stabbed. You had another younger Kennedy, his plane crashed. And I believe 2 or 3 years ago, you just had another Kennedy. I don't know if her name was Caroline or what, but she drowned. And you're saying, Anthony, how is this the sins of the father transferring to the children? Well, look at the tragedy. No telling what the father did to have to make $200 million.